So unfortunately, the way things are going, your job is at risk and your home is at risk. And I want to talk with you guys about this stuff in a serious way because it's something that you need to pay attention to. And I always say, don't be scared, be prepared. So let me jump into the news, the headlines, and I'll tell you guys what I'm talking about here. So first, this just came out today. Wall Street job losses may top 200,000 as AI replaces roles. Basically, Bloomberg did a survey, asking firms on Wall Street, what are you going to do? You're going to hire people, fire people with AI. They're going to lay off, is what it sounds like, the next 3 to 5 years. And this is just Wall Street, so I can't speak for all industries, but it's a real thing. That's why you got to pay attention to this stuff. They say 3% of the workforce, so that would amount to about 200,000 jobs. There is a more direct quote here. Sort of which jobs it would be. Back office, middle office, and operations are likely most at risk, is what they say. So I repeat again, on Wall Street, it would be back office, middle office, and operations. So this kind of stuff, I'm thinking, okay, you got to make sure that you're good with people, right? Because the AI can't necessarily mimic the relationships that you're going to have with people. Also, in any job, any industry, always keep your ear to the pipeline to know where opportunities are, what people are talking about, right? That's why I'm sharing this stuff with you guys. And so you kind of know if like, okay, my job or my role is going to be cut, in the future, I need to start training and learning something else. Because there's always gonna be opportunity. Let's be frank. There's always gonna be opportunity, but you just have to be prepared for that. Don't expect things to be easy. Always, in my opinion, always expect things to be hard. And it's better to, plan and be prepared again. This also says here, customer services could see changes as bots manage client functions, while know your customer duties would be also vulnerable. Another quote here, any jobs involving routine, repetitive tasks are at risk, but AI will not eliminate them fully. Rather, it will lead to workforce transformation. Part of what Wall Street wants to do, it's not just Wall Street, but any company, there's always the drive for more and more profits, right? And we're in an economic slowdown, which we'll talk about in a moment here also. And so they got to figure out ways to, streamline as much as they can. And so some people will get laid off. As I said, it's a 3% estimate. In my opinion, and it's not just opinion, it's just numbers, there's always going to be a job in the USA, but I can't promise you it's going to be one that you are planning on having, right? It's just, that's, can't plan on your particular role always being there. You don't know. And that's why you have to keep your ear to the grapevine, right, to see what's going on. So for example, in December, they're going to add, this is the estimate, that 155,000 jobs were added. This is a little bit on the low end. We'll see which ones end up being, but lately it's been, healthcare has been one of the industries that's been hiring. I see that all the time. Sometimes you'll see restaurant ones or other services, and construction. But yeah, a lot of the AI, I think actually is the more risk is probably more to your desk jobs. That's why, like your Wall Street jobs, that kind of stuff. Because at this moment, say for example, if you learn a skilled trade, right? Be it car repair, plumbing, electrician, these kind of things, AI is not going to replace you anytime soon. So there's stuff like that. Maybe something like this is, for example, in the picture of a service job. Here in Korea, we actually have restaurants and coffee places where there's no people in it at all. It's all self-serve. And so it's just like a coffee machine. You just push the button and it makes the coffee, etc. I don't know if you have that kind of stuff yet in the USA, but we do have it in Korea, and it is on the move. We also have robot servers to where it's like a little car thing, and it's got a tray holder, and it brings you your food, and it works pretty good actually. It's just it's a simple little cart on wheels. And then all of our restaurants now have kiosks at your table. So there's that. So I think these things are coming, or be at the grocery store. Now we all use the self-serve, checkouts. And I can't speak to the grocery store you're shopping in, but I'll just say the workplace, is transforming. And so in my opinion, again, be prepared, not scared. So I think there's going to be jobs and maintenance of those machines, that kind of stuff, certainly, as we have more of them. And the other thing that's going on, if you're looking for a job, Elon Musk is hiring. Basically, he wants to cut services for people, right? Cut your worker protections, these kind of things, cut your environmental protections. And he needs people to help him do that. So if you want to work for Elon Musk and cutting things that we need, he's hiring. But there's a caveat. I'm not sure what the pay is going to be. It may not pay. Who knows? Ask Elon. You got to be the top 1% of applicants, super high IQ individuals. That's what the quote from the job posting. And you got to be willing to work 80 hours a week. So if you want to work for Elon, you can certainly do that. And they want people in human resources, information tech, and finance backgrounds. So who knows? Maybe this is all coordination to where Elon's, getting people on Wall Street to fire people, and then he'll hire you, and you have to do, 80 hours a week. I'm making a joke, but I know it's kind of a somber talk, talking about people losing their jobs, et cetera. But again, you just want to know where the opportunities are, and go into the working world with realistic expectations, and also go to where people need you, right? And I think these sort of like important talks, realistic talk about this stuff, will help you to be more successful in life. To be perfectly frank, I actually talk about this kind of talk in my book called Positive Angle. Check it out; it's on Amazon. I don't talk my book like all day, every day, but sometimes people say, "Oh, Chris, why don't you talk about positive things?" Like literally, I wrote a book about it. So please talk about it, because I think much of YouTube is not real. People need to sit down and just talk with you like a real person. Like, hey, there's no jobs here. This is where the jobs are. Go to where the jobs are. And that's just my opinion on stuff. The same way, say we're talking about, say, the risk to your home or your house is real. I keep seeing these reports every day in LA of the fires. It's just getting worse. And now they're saying this could be the costliest, in history. It's really bad. It's just really bad. We used to live in LA, and so I'll show you guys some pictures. This is years ago. It's like almost 10 years ago now. It's crazy, right? So it was my wife and I, and then this is sort of the area that was, where the burning is at the moment. So up on the hills, and LA is really cool. If you've never been, I recommend go visit. It's just really, really cool. Unfortunately, though, just the way things are, be it with the drought, be it with climate change, or if you want to say mismanagement of how you manage the natural resources, whatever. There's any number of explanations of what's going on. Just there is a burn season every year, and this is just a particularly bad year. And you can see the smoke is just everywhere. That's why I was showing you guys. Like, I've been here. I feel really sorry to see all this. So this would be the Pacific Coast Highway, which is a beautiful drive, Malibu. And I think that's where we took this. It's beautiful around there, the surfers and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the before and after. You can see there's homes now that they're all gone. This is a before. I think this is Altadena, and this is after. So it's really a shame, and it's still going on right now. I was looking at some of this, and they were saying like some of these are like not contained at all. It's like 0% contained. It's awful. People in our community, we've been talking about this. This is Ben. Ben is from Australia. He says here, I'm from Australia, where we have struggled with colossal fires. My dad was an artist, and he lost his house and his life's work in the early 2000 bushfires. I understand the pain that this can cause and feel deeply for all those who are suffering in LA. And when Ben brought this up, I was thinking about that. So like, for example, if, we lost our couch in the fire, we'll get another couch, right? Just for example. But if you, lose something that you can't replace, like in this situation, Ben was saying he lost, his dad lost all his artwork he's been working on for years. I completely understand that would be really, really, it'd be awful. There's no other way to put it. And, again, this kind of stuff, be prepared, not scared. So for me, when I look at the map, say where these fires are, I'm just like, there's just no way I could live in these places. And I mean, in terms of, I like LA, but I wouldn't live anywhere near where there could be possible fire, risk. And I think you got to take this stuff seriously. I mean, that's why I'm telling this talk with you, be the job risk or home risk. Take this stuff seriously. Another way to be prepared, for example, this is a rail then, and they were saying here, native of Los Angeles and lifetime Southern Californian here. Houses don't catch fire from outside of the structure. They ignite when embers enter attics or porches or decks through vents or open spaces. Once the attic is ignited by embers, it slowly burns from within, giving no indication until the attic collapses, and then the structure burns from the inside out. And then they go on to say, you can cover your vents with different metal or I think she calls it like fencing or something like that. And then, staple it in there and just, basically just be prepared. Understand how these fires spread and be prepared. That's what I'm talking about. Um, and unfortunately, though, there's, and in some situations, just if you live in the location where you're super high risk, maybe there's not much you can do, but, you can certainly, try the best you can by either one, don't live in the places that have high risk, be it of flood risk, fire risk, tornado risk, etc. Take these things seriously these days. This is going to be the norm, and especially with insurance companies dropping people, you just, like I said, take this stuff seriously. And then, if you do want to live in said area, protect your home as best you can. In that situation, like worry about your vents and stuff like that. The estimated damage, I think they're estimating like 50 billion, something like that. And this is a chart of other, how can you say, wildfires in the past in terms of insurance losses. So it's big. It's like 10 times bigger in terms of damage, property damage compared to say the Hawaii fire, which I thought was really bad. So that was about 4 billion. And I'm just showing you guys of different ones. And, going into the future that we are now, and it's just the reality. It's unfortunate that, Trump is going to take office. He just doesn't care about people. It's obvious. And today in particular, I was thinking about that because Carter, they had the funeral for him today. So you guys might have seen that on TV. So the markets were closed. And I just wanted to read something that someone said about Carter. It's just a regular person. They said here, I think someone from Minnesota, Mark says, Carter was a real role model for everyone. He was so sincere in everything he did. There's someone else named Bruce. Bruce says, I view him as a really good man, high moral values. He seriously was a public servant. He gave all he had to this country, and that's why I respect him so much. I just was thinking about that where, when you face any sort of tragedy or natural disaster, you just want people that just act like human beings and understand, like your friendly neighbor that's going to come and say, hey, what do you need? What can we do? How can we help? And that's traditionally, that's been what we've had in the USA. And like I said, the whole Trump stuff is so ridiculous. So I don't want to talk too much about that right to this video, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm saying. And it was sad it's like a doubly sad. So we're passing of Carter and now with the entrance of Trump. But we're unfortunately going to have to keep talking about it because this is the world we live in, right? He's president, him and Musk. And there's going to be an interesting fight between them. So Trump says he's tough on China. I said he says he is, but we'll see. Because Musk is very dependent on China, along with many donors. So that's what this was about. So, national security risk wise, let's not send our tech to help the Chinese military or the Chinese Communist Party, etc. Yet people like Elon Musk are depending on them, and Musk could just be passing your data over to them. We even have an issue with TikTok, which could be a thing. Are we passing our data to TikTok on a daily basis? I think the Supreme Court is hearing arguments like now as I'm recording this video. So I think the idea is that if you want TikTok just to operate in the USA, we'll let people, we'll have a US branch and just buy it from them. So they kind of want to keep it, of course, but we'll see. I'm old, I'm 49, so I'm not into TikTok stuff. You guys can let me know if you are. This was some numbers. It said here 34% of adults said they used TikTok, and then among 13 to 17-year-olds, it's 63%. So it's obviously, veers more young. In my opinion, TikTok makes you more dumb. It's just my opinion. And you may or may not know this, TikTok in USA is different than TikTok in China. TikTok in China is closer to YouTube. It's much more company focused and stuff like that, advertisements, and it's not so much free user generated stuff because there's not free speech over there. So it's just a different platform. It's more closer to YouTube, I said, and with heavier censorship. Where TikTok is all kinds of stuff, and they basically just want to turn you into mindless drones and sell your data. So there's that. Regarding the China situation, is their economy is in real trouble right now. And so that actually has effects of all the other countries around it, right? So many countries do trade with China. So you've been seeing that in the emerging country stocks have been going down. You also have the Chinese currency was a 16-month low. They think it's even going to go lower, so it'll be like a 2-decade low, maybe by May or something like that. On top of that, China's currency, and this is all based because we're all kind of concerned, like, what the heck is Trump up to? And he's creating imbalances in the world. The British pound is sinking as well. So I guess you guys are at a, was it, I can't remember. Oh yeah, 16 and a half. No, so that was at the, I think it was like 2-decade low too. I read that somewhere. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a similar situation. Both the UK economy and the Chinese economy are weak. I think probably the UK economy might be weaker. I mean, it's like have a race who's the weakest economy, but in these kind of times, you'll get more radicalized in your politics, right? Because people are how can I say, the government needs to distract people for whatever reason. So in this situation, for example, if the Chinese government's, and the economy is bad and everything's going awful, let's start a war with Taiwan, or at least let's get people thinking about that. And so like they were well, they're going to say there wasn't sabotage, but I'll just say what they could have happened. They have a ship, sailing around, and then they can drag your anchor across the seafloor, and then you basically can cut, your internet wires to Taiwan. So it's kind of crazy. So there's that, and we have more right-wing influences popping up all over the place. Let me try to explain the importance of the currency stuff, and it combines with what's going on in, say, there's a sell-off in the bond market in UK. You're seeing that a bit in the USA as well. It's all over the place because, again, we're all concerned about Trump. So if countries' currencies are going to go down, and I think there's speculation, it's probably true, but we'll just say speculation, that the Chinese government is purposely lowering their currency, right? So what would that do? That would make their exports cheaper because their currency is cheap, right? So it's easier to buy their stuff, makes their stuff cheaper. So that would try to offset the tariffs for the Trump stuff. So if you play out the logic here, right? If Trump, in his plan, his master plan to raise tariffs on everyone and make inflation worse for you, then he wants to theoretically build all these factories in USA and try to sell American stuff to other countries. But if the dollar is strong, that means it's too expensive to buy stuff from the USA, so that's not going to work. So it may, other countries may want to trade with China more because China has a devalued currency. In the UK situation, I don't think you guys export enough stuff. You guys can let me know on that one. I don't study UK all day every day, but I do know your economy is in shambles. I was reading about it here, but it's all related. You have an imbalance between the essentially the retirees and the workers. So let me read the example of the UK situation. It was interesting when you read this stuff. It says some of the UK's wounds are self-inflicted. UK gross domestic product flatlined between July and September, suggesting that the British economy is stagnating, right? So in China, you have deflation. So I guess in UK, you're not growing, right? It's all the same kind of story. That spells trouble for Starmer Labour government. So then you have Elon Musk, partnering up with ever right-wingers over there because it's all about, it's all Starmer's fault, etc. But that's why I try to tell you guys, like a lot of this stuff is global, right? It's a global economic slowdown. We have modern economies that are all based on debt, and the expectations are going to grow forever, but it's hard to do that, right? And so then the UK situation, if you read more of the stuff, it says the risk that an economic slowdown will hurt tax revenue, right? So not enough money coming in, leaving the government short of funds it needs to finance its plans, raise the likelihood of more borrowing. So same kind of stuff in USA. You got deficit spending, I guess, let's just borrow more money and try to get it to work. and then you like at the end of the day, the problem is it's just not enough money there, and there's not enough, GDP growth. So and you'll see this in the USA, just for example, because I read the headlines all the time, and I read the news. Macy's, I guess they're closing a bunch of stores. This is a department store in USA, if you guys don't know, but they've been run down for years, and I haven't been in one for a long time, but every time I go, it seems like they're just run down and they don't ever remodel. So they're eventually closing that. I guess a bunch of TGIF Fridays. This is a popular restaurant in USA. They're closing a bunch of stores. And people are complaining about the cost of eggs at Walmart, that sort of thing. So I understand how stuff is, right? Sometimes you can attribute to an administration, sometimes not. So for example, in the egg situation, I guess there's a bird flu, right? And that you cut supply. And on top of this, and this is sort of why I like to have a discussion with you guys about this stuff. Just for example, whatever company you work at, I use always the example Apple because it's really easy to understand. Let's say you work for Apple and you want to sell phones, but like what if say overseas in China or Europe or in UK, they don't have any money to buy your phone? What do you think is going to happen, right? Everything slows down. So these things go in cycles. Eventually there is a recovery, but how long remains to be seen. I've seen estimates in the China situation, it could be a couple decades. I mean, who knows? Because they had a massive bubble, population decline. We have these challenges here in Korea also. And then you have these, sort of out of touch billionaire tech people that are like, hey guys, it's all about free speech. And this is Zuckerberg, for example. And I guess he's wearing a $900,000 watch, which is like, obviously very, very different than the average person's, experience in life. And so you have these disconnects of Musk who wants to cut everything and then, hey, come work for me for, 80 hours a week. And you have, Zuckerberg saying, oh, I'm going to make you all free and you're going to have, spread, online bigotry and hate on my platform. Woohoo. That's great news. And so that's why I told you guys about the job risks, the housing risks, and sort of our economy, just so you understand everything and make sure that you're prepared on these things. In my opinion, diversify your money. Because people always say, hey, what do you do with money? Just diversify. Don't throw all your eggs in one basket and don't expect crazy growth. The next, I don't know, I can't predict how long, but I personally, think we're in a massive bubble right now. You just see it all over the market. And so that's why we talk about this AI stuff or crypto stuff or the crap that Musk says is all going to Mars stuff. And it should be obvious, right? Like, why are we talking about going to Mars when people can't even afford eggs or, people are struggling all around the world. It's like, that's sort of why I put the two things together for you and show you like, hey, Macy's is closing and TGIF is closing. So why are you talking about this other stuff? So there's always gonna be opportunity out there for you though. I don't want to paint it like there's no opportunity. Just you may have to do something that you didn't expect to be doing, but it may actually be better than what you could have hoped for. You don't know. You don't know until you start asking around. And that's something that I've learned in my life. That's something I read about my book is just always be flexible and looking for the best opportunity. That's something I've always done. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Like I said, I don't want to necessarily be a downer like completely. I just want to tell you the reality of it. And you can make it through it if you're prepared and not scared. So appreciate your time, everyone. And I'll catch you on the next video.